WWE canceling 205 Live. I know it might sound bad, but it could be for the better. So we're going to talk about it all in today's video coming up on DPW. Welcome back to the channel, guys. It's your boy Anthony Ango Tony. It doesn't matter what my name is. What matters is the news today, because for some of you, you may very well be against this. You may very well enjoy the news that is coming out today. So I want to know what you guys think in the comment section down below. But with that being said, we got to talk about it. 205 being canceled. 205 Live being the show on the WWE Network featuring some of the greatest talent in WWE. But of course, they are not being looked at. Now, there are some pros and cons to this move. I'm going to go through the pros. I'm going to be going through the cons. But this is coming from Triple H in an interview with Newsweek, which I'm going to throw up on the screen. Triple H says, "You'll start to see 205 begin to," and I think it's always existed as an island unto itself a little bit, and it's become lost in this limbo. "You'll begin to see a move more towards the NXT banner and the talent there. We have a lot of talent. For them to begin to compete either open against anyone or in the Cruiserweight division, but have that title sit under the NXT brand is more meaningful. It creates more opportunities for more people. As for Raw and SmackDown, it's an open division for them. When you're on both shows, everybody is competing against everybody." Now, guys, this is really interesting stuff, but let's talk about the pros, let's talk about the cons, and let's talk about what this really means and why WWE might actually be doing this. Well, first, it's pretty simple. 205 Live is not the most popular product, but it's not because WWE's 205 Live is a bad show. In fact, I think it's one of the most consistent and one of the better pro wrestling programs in today's world of pro wrestling, which is really crazy when you consider that there's Impact, ROH, New Japan, AEW, WWE, Raw, SmackDown. I mean, there's a million plus options. 205 Live is definitely not at the top of that list, but it is definitely up there, pretty close to what I enjoy. And the reason why is just because the talent is so good. Like, 205 Live is WWE's wrestling show. And for that reason, I think they've done a really good job to build off that. Now, a lot of people tend to not like 205 Live, and it clearly shows because during SmackDown tapings, after SmackDown concludes, that's when WWE Network goes live on with 205 Live, and then of course people in the stands leave, or the crowd are just completely tired and they're not as engaged. Now, I've made it a mission every time I've gone to a SmackDown show to actually watch 205 Live because I really enjoy it. So why are fans not enjoying 205 Live? And I think that really comes down to one thing, and that is WWE not giving it as much attention and love that it deserves. And I think WWE just simply does this because they need more content on the WWE Network. It's an incentive for people who pay for the $10. Now, as you guys may have heard, the pricing of WWE Network is going to change because they're going to roll out 3 tiers. So at this point, WWE likely just doesn't need 205 Live to exist anymore. But what they have is a large list of incredible talent, people who are physically better than a lot of other wrestlers. Like 205 Live, when you look at these guys in the ring, they are absolutely amazing, and WWE doesn't want to lose that talent, and they want them featured. And because they are entering Wednesday Night Wars with AEW, talent is going to be a big part of that 2-hour NXT show. So it makes sense as to why Triple H wants to move the 205 Live guys, which, by the way, they're going to resonate very, very well with the Full Sail crowd. He's going to move them over to NXT on USA Network, and the Cruiserweight Championship will become part of the NXT brand, which I think is incredible. When you look at NXT, it's a 2-hour show. They obviously have the NXT World Championship belt, the world title that they have, or the main championship. And then they have the North American Championship. They have the Tag Team Championship. Cruiserweight Championship would be added onto this list. And then, of course, they have the Women's Championship. Now, I like this because this means WWE can still focus on the division, but there's a lot of people in NXT who also qualify for 205 Live. So this will mean more matchups and better storylines. And I think 205 Live being under the WWE umbrella with NXT just makes a lot more sense. I get it. But here's what I don't like. I pretty much kept the WWE Network for 2 reasons: pay-per-views and 205 Live and NXT. Getting rid of 205 Live just means that I probably don't need the WWE Network as bad, or I may not be using it as much, which I think could be bad for WWE. I think obviously NXT is leaving the WWE Network live, and then obviously, you know, taking out 205 Live. Those are 2 pretty nice shows being taken off the network. Those are some of the things I dislike, but nonetheless, I think Triple H moving the NXT belts or moving the Cruiserweight Championship belt to NXT and then making it an NXT belt is really nice. But I do want to see a redesign, because if we don't see a redesign of this belt, it's going to be really bad. Me personally, I think they should go with a black strap with a gold design, and then it makes a lot of sense. Now, here are some of the cons. Full Sail crowd is a very, very good crowd. They're a very passionate crowd, but they have the tendency to kind of, guys who may not be the best on the roster, or guys who may not have the best character, but they might be a funner character to watch, I guess. Maybe they're not the best stars or the biggest stars. This is the reason why their successes don't always translate to the main roster. Like Adam Rose, for example, was huge in NXT, but went to the main roster, it was a failure. It's a different crowd from WWE. So it scares me that this crowd, while it is a really good crowd and it's more of the smarter crowd, more intelligent crowd, I feel like they might have some issues with getting certain talent over. I'm not sure how that's going to work, but it's a huge question mark. And another con that we kind of have to think about is WWE Network and how this completely changes, losing NXT and 205 Live. What is WWE's game plan here? What are they trying to do long term by taking off this show? And what does this mean for Raw and SmackDown? We've seen guys like Buddy Murphy and Cedric Alexander and Mustafa Ali move to the main roster. What about some of these other guys? Yesterday's episode included Kushida. We also know that Nigel McGuinness is no longer on commentary because Dio Madden, if you guys don't remember him, he's in NXT. He was on commentary. WWE's making a lot of changes, guys. This is really huge. It's also being said, and I don't know how accurate this is, but it's also being said, it's been reported that WWE wants to change the commentary to two people. With NXT and 205 Live, it's really hard to see how they piece that together, because I think one of the good things about 205 Live is its commentary. I think Vic Joseph is really good, and obviously with NXT it's a little bit different, with Mauro and Nigel and Beth Phoenix. So with WWE possibly going to two commentary teams, like I want, I think a guy like Mauro Ranallo, Nigel McGuinness will do good. But I want them to do something very, very exciting with this change. It needs to feel important, and I don't feel like WWE views it as something important. Now, Triple H kind of understands what the smarter fans enjoy, so I'm hoping Triple H makes that as part of the change. But why is WWE removing this from the network? And that seems to be the question that I just simply don't know the answer to. And I feel like it could be a problem. Most definitely it's a problem when you're taking out content, because people are paying money for this. But there is supposed to be a free WWE network, which I kind of want to talk about for a second, because a lot of people don't seem to know this. But they are planning on doing a free WWE network, which is basically a lot of the web content that you see. And then they'll do a free trial for certain pay-per-views that you'll get for free. Then the second tier is going to be pretty much what you have now, which is like $10 a month, $9.99. And then there's a rumored $15. I don't know if WWE plans on doing this long term or not, but possibly adding Evolve into the WWE network. Maybe Evolve would get a network show, and that in 205 Live being forged with NXT could make some sense. It would be cool to see Evolve have a weekly show on WWE Network, but that's just pure speculation, guys, and I don't know necessarily how that's going to work. Ultimately, I want to know what you guys think, though. This is a very, very interesting time. AEW is definitely making it clear that they are ready to put out some great content, and they're ready to put on some good wrestling, and WWE is at the stage where we can feel it. We know that they want to do it, but they're waiting, and having them move 205 Live to the NXT brand will be very interesting, but canceling the show, whether it's popular or not, will ultimately be decided, on how often people watch them on NXT. But the NXT UK, the NXT in America, and 205 Live being combined as one super brand, that's a lot to take on AEW. And it seems like Triple H is the guy who's really willing to compete against AEW. While many people fit the narrative that Vince is doing it, I think Triple H is actually the guy who's leading the forefront, which ultimately not that bad. But, it's a different time, guys. It's a different time in pro wrestling. 205 Live has a really nice belt. There was rumors about Cruiserweight Tag Team Championship belts. There was a lot that never happened with 205 Live. And obviously having guys like Pac, formerly known as Neville, Enzo, there's been, Hideo Itami. Like, these guys just didn't work out. Things just did not work out for 205 Live. It was almost cursed from the beginning, although it's still a good show. So ultimately, I want to know what you guys think in the comment section down below. A lot of stuff WWE today, but I want to know what you guys think. 205 Live might be canceled. Triple H said it, not me. Let me know what you guys think. Crazy. It's a different time period in pro wrestling. It's about to be another boom period. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Twitter @TangoWithAngo. See you guys next time.